Greetings, Andy. This is Kenyatta doing my video blog, and I'm so grateful that you allowed us to do that. Um, I really enjoy this type of medium because I can talk more than I can write. Well, I guess I can do both, but for me, talking is a lot easier for me. And I'm so excited to be able to share everything. So I feel like if I'm writing, I might miss something. Um, but in encountering this class, I have really evolved and learned quite a bit. Um, I'm just grateful that we've been allowed to do this from our perspective. Um, you've been very open in allowing us to see it from many different viewpoints. Even the material of readings that you've allowed us to read or have had us to read, they've been inspiring. You have not just focused on one type of way to spiritually practice. Um, it's been really enlightening, and it's been a pleasure to encounter, and I continue to encounter this. I continue to encounter this. So daily, I'm really looking at my practice now. When I first started this course, the first couple of weeks, I was a little like, how is this going to go? As you know, I teach at the college level in the community college. I teach online now, but I also have taught at National University. And so for me, I was wanting to know how was I going to be able to, first of all, juggle all of that because I'm doing a doctorate, I'm taking one class of the doctorate, teaching one class online, and then I accepted a full-time position working as a coordinator for Head Start. So this course was necessary. It allowed me to really stop and take those breaths and really think um, before I reacted because that's what I needed in my spiritual practice. I think because I'm such an emotional person and I'm wound up a lot of times, sometimes I tend to react. And I'm grateful to have my spiritual practice. I was born and raised Muslim. There's 3 generations of Muslims in my family. My father has always challenged my siblings and I to challenge the status quo. We believe that there's no compulsion in Islam, so I was never, forced to really do anything. My father always gave us, many different avenues to seek out God. I guess that's a really good way to express that. I need to share that with him at some point. So for me, in having that, foundation from my family life, as I be, as the course, progressed, I saw where it was going for me, and thinking of neuroscience and how our brain works when we're spiritually charged, or when we feel that emotion of it. Um, it really was a practice that I don't think I had really encountered. And you really allowed me to unfold, I'm sure, as well as my colleagues, to unfold that and see where it was going to take us. So for me, I've learned really, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. I've learned how to stop and and be present in the moment. Um, and as I read your book, I'm still reading it somewhere around here. I kind of put it down and I pick it back up. But as I read your book and looking at the practices that you've asked us to do as it relates to compassion and this breathing in and thinking about being compassionate and um, not just from a surface space, because some of us do that very well. We have a surface way of compassion. Oh, you lost a family member, I'm so sorry. But it's really not that compassion. So I really I've always felt that I've been a compassionate person, but I feel like I enhance my compassion. I'm really am more mindful of how I'm practicing that compassion, and even compassion to myself, because we have a tendency as human beings to be compassionate to others, but we may not be compassionate to ourselves. And so that's what's really unfolding for me. And it continues daily. And I talk to everybody in my circle, my husband and my family members and my father and my siblings, about how this practice is unfolding for me. Because I think everybody thinks because you're taking a doctorate that it just magically all unfolds in one semester. And I don't think that's the way it's supposed to go. I think it's supposed to be this progression. And as you progress, you start to really realize where my spirituality is growing. Um, and so I'm doing that every day in life. I took out of your book the breathing and compassion, and really taking those moments, and I stop now, whether it's on my lunch break, whether it's where I'm at my desk, and I just take that moment and I try to breathe in and breathe out. And I've shared that with other people in my spaces. Like, you know, we can take moments of compassion. We can, sorry about the tissue. Um, so really for me, that's what I've learned, really how to take those steps of moment of compassion, how to reevaluate, you know, my feelings towards my spirituality. It's allowed me to dissect it and not dissect it. I know that sounds very strange, but I'm just going with the flow with it. And each day I've been able to unfold it. And the discussions have really helped me with that, and being able to talk with other people and get some interactions and get some, common ground. So how I choose to put it in my life is it's daily. It's second by second. It's really being in an intentionality of practice. Whether it's in my daily prayers, whether it's in my yoga practice has really increased. And I've allowed myself to really open up and not feel like I have to, feel like I have to um, solve the world. That's my problem. I'm the solve the world person. So when I go in yoga practice, I just let my brain just totally dump and forget about everything that's happening, and encounter that moment. Be present in the moment. That's what I'm doing. And it feels amazing. So I challenge myself and others to continue to do that. That's what I'm doing in my life. That's what I'm doing in my practice at work. So my vocation, my careers, even teaching online. I express that in my announcements to my students. What did you do for your practice? I don't specifically say spiritual because it's not a religious space. But I say, what has been your practice of looking within and seeing, who you are, and are you taking those moments for yourself? And that's all a part of self-care when you think about it. I did a kuppah a couple of years ago, I think, as I said in the class, and it was called Self-Care in Ramadan. And that was my journey, starting into the self-care, but that I realized that my spiritual practice was not at its complete, um, not complete, but it was not, I didn't, I took it for granted. I took it for granted. Now I'm consciously practicing. It's not just because I have to make my five prayer or offer my five prayers. It's that I'm consciously there. So in my life, in my career, this is a daily, sometimes minute by minute practice. And if I feel myself becoming overwhelmed, I stop and I take that moment and I breathe and I think about how is this affecting me? And it's just awesome. It's a really, really awesome feeling to have. And I know that sounds so awesome. That's not really a very articulate word to describe it, but it is that. It's awesome. It's intriguing. It's creating this openness. It's creating this true understanding of myself. And so I thank you, and I thank you for building this class the way you have and making it foundationally something that I can take into my next part, into the next space and classes that I encounter. So thank you for that. Thank you for changing my life, Andy. I really do appreciate it. And I say that with the sincerest statement. And as I read the more of the books, Compassion Practice with Frank Rogers, also reading your book even more so, I'm going to take those words and sayings and really adopt them into my life. And I will continue to adopt them. So thank you so much. This has been life changing.